Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. A little bit of collab, hopeful goodness from two breweries I really dig. Burlington Brewing Company in collaboration with Singlecut. This is their Glacier Palace Cold IPA. Yeah. Burlington, done my fair share. Singlecut, I have done my fair share. It's been a while since I reviewed a Singlecut beer. I actually think the last time I reviewed a Singlecut beer might have been like almost pre-pandemic. It was like a smoked something or other in a 750 bottle, whatever. Anyway, I saw this on a shelf. I dig on cold IPA. 6.2% alcohol by volume, not super high ABV. What else we have going on here? It is about a month old as far as in the can. 6.2%. Obviously done on the Burlington side of things because of their label stylings and pricing. That's the one thing I will say about Singlecut, is that I used to be a huge fan of Singlecut, and their prices just seem to kind of just rise to a weird level. You know, their beers used to be relatively decent price point, but their $14 beers are now $17 beers, and their $17 beers are now $20-something beers. It's kind of rubbed me the wrong way, so I don't really grab their stuff as much. When I saw this as a collab for a relatively cheap price point, I want to say this is $15 on the nose. Yeah. I dig on the pinstriping that Burlington does, very distinctive. It is their style when it comes to a label, so you definitely don't have any kind of like, oh, whose beer is that? Oh, it's definitely Single, or definitely Burlington. As far as the beer goes, kind of what you'd expect from a cold IPA, and the fact that they tend to come off quite a bit clearer than their hazy counterparts. As you can see here, it is definitely not clear, but it, you can see through it. So it looks the part of a cold IPA. Pinky finger, white could be foam as they spill it everywhere. Let's see if we can get a nose. Yeah, super fruity, like super tropical fruit. Fruity. Ooh, just realized I forgot to pull my mic down. You guys probably can't hear me all that well. Sometimes I forget. Okay, there we go. Probably hear me a lot better now. But yeah, it has this big, huge, candied, kind of like tropical fruit kind of sweetness to it. Yeah, very much tropical fruit, mango combination with a nice kind of man. What else would I call it? Actually, I think this is going to be all over the place sound-wise, because I think... Oop, might be a little bit too loud there. How about that? There we go. See, we're just adjusting stuff on the fly. But yeah, it has this kind of big, kind of candy-like, kind of mango-iness to it, with this nice kind of tropical fruit, a little bit of citrus, but again, we're thinking like candiedness there, candied citrus. Big, rich, sweet, not necessarily hard candy to a certain extent, but definitely in that sweeter portion of the show. And then you get to this kind of... let's see what else. Fruit-wise, man. It's almost like and I don't mean this as a negative sense. It's like a real... It's like a from concentrate fruit juice with a little bit of high fructose corn syrup. I'm not making that as a negative. It just comes off, the sweetness comes off a little bit skosh richer than what you'd get from a typical fruit. No big kind of precursor to bittering or anything like that. Just fruit juice on fruit juice on fruit juice. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. Yeah, the one thing about cold IPA, which I do dig, is this kind of somewhere falling between that IPL and classic East Coast style kind of IPA. That's where a lot of these cold IPAs kind of land, and that's where this one kind of lands too. And that you have this kind of, not lager level cleanliness and crispness, but you definitely have that going in there with that cold ferment. Is it cold ferment? I always forget with a cold IPA. Is it a hot ferment lager yeast? Is it a cold ferment ale yeast? I don't remember. I figured I'd know these things. But you get these bursting kind of citrus fruits, bursting tropical fruits leading the way. There's a soft little utilitarian bittering on this thing that definitely shows like a little bit of balance to the beer, but it definitely skews a little bit sweet. It's not cloying by any stretch of imagination. A little bit of an under-attenuated kind of sweetness in there. I think it helps this beer out. Drinks all the part of 6.2%. In the grand scheme of things, I look at this beer, I taste this beer. I think if I drank this blind, I'd probably think it's more like 7% more than anything else. And really just showcases a lot of heavy fruit forwardness in the tropical side of things, in that kind of slightly confectionery, slightly from concentrate, slightly fructose syrupy kind of sweetness in a positive sense, with that little utilitarian bitterness in a super drinkable package. This is typically the stuff that, like, I'm a big fan of, to be perfectly honest with you. I like cold IPAs. I like that they give me those kind of weird, kind of somewhere between IPL and East Coast IPA, something I hanker for from time to time, and I don't see all that much. So when I saw this on the shelf at a relatively decent price point, I jumped at it. The only issue I would have, and I don't think it's an execution issue here more than a want on this guy's side of things, is I wish I had a little bit of like a distinctive personality on the bittering side of things. It does have that utilitarian bittering, but in the grand scheme of things, it had a little bit of ranky-dank, a little bit of scallion onion, something like that. Stuff that I usually attribute old school single cut. I think this would be like world-class S-tier stuff, but in the grand scheme of things, very, very tasty stuff. We're going to talk about this as a Mount Rushmore beer, because I think we talked about all the components in it, as far as what I've perceived. Is it a Mount Rushmore of IPAs? No. Mount Rushmore cold IPAs. Eating towards the top on that. Probably worthy, since I haven't drank that many in quite some time, but very tasty beer nonetheless. And the price point ain't too bad either. Value and availability, off the shelf at a Wegmans for $15. I'm game for that and leave you with. If you like what we like this beer. If you like cold IPA, and you like that kind of tropical fruit juiciness with a touch of under-attenuated sweetness with nothing too crazy over the top, in-your-face flavors, but at the same time boisterous and really drinkable, hop-forward, well-done beer. If you like classic East Coast IPA, you'll dig on this. There you go. Reviewing the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Singlecut and or Burlington. Been to the breweries. I've been to Burlington a couple times. Have you had their beers? Have you had their collabs? Have you had this beer? What is your favorite beer from those breweries? All that fun stuff down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of the collab goodness right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers all.